All right, today we're diving into a story that's, well, it's pretty incredible. It's about community, it's about government, and it's about truly changing the game. We're heading to the Indian state of Kerala to see how they're about to pull off something most people would say is flat out impossible. In a world where poverty is still one of our biggest, toughest challenges, you've got this one state, with a population larger than a lot of countries, by the way, and they are right on the edge of a truly historic achievement. A victory that, honestly, a lot of folks thought was impossible in our lifetime. A victory over what, you ask? Well, it's a victory over... Yep, you heard that right. Extreme poverty. The state of Kerala is on a mission to wipe it out completely. And get this, the finish line is actually in sight. So the big questions are, how on earth did they do it? And what do we even mean when we say extreme poverty? Okay, so before we can really appreciate just how amazing Kerala's solution is, we've got to wrap our heads around the problem itself. Because it's not just about being broke. Oh no, it goes way, way deeper than that. And this is where it gets really interesting. Look at how the UN defines it. It's not just about money. They call it a denial of choices and opportunities, a violation of human dignity. So we're talking about the lack of the most basic stuff, the freedom and the power to actually live a life you choose for yourself. And that idea leads us straight to this really crucial concept, multidimensional poverty. It's just a fancy way of saying we need to look beyond the bank account. It's about seeing all the different ways poverty can trap a person. So you've got these 5 big areas, right? Income, health, education, social, and housing. And the thing is, they're all tangled together. They create this nasty, vicious cycle. Like if you're sick, you can't work. If you can't get an education, your opportunities are limited. If you're shut out from your community, you've got no one to turn to. It's a trap. And the only way to break it is to tackle all of these things at the same time. And that right there is the perfect lead-in to the absolute foundation of Kerala's success. It's this massive women's empowerment movement called Kudumbashree. Now, this was no overnight fix. We're talking about a social and economic powerhouse that's been built up piece by piece for more than 20 years. It all started way back in 1998. The whole idea was to build this powerful grassroots network, giving women the tools they needed to stand on their own 2 feet, both economically and socially. And over the years, that's exactly what it did. It built the trust, the infrastructure, really the people power needed for that final push. And when I say the scale is huge, I mean it's just staggering. You won't believe these numbers. First up, check this out. Over 300,000 neighborhood groups. This is where it all begins, right there on the ground level. This is not some program that's being pushed from the top down. No, this is the definition of grassroots, built by the community for the community. And who's in those groups? Almost 5 million women. Let that sink in for a second. To give you some perspective, that's more people than the entire population of New Zealand. We're talking about one of the largest women's collectives on the entire planet. It's massive. And make no mistake, this is not just a social club. This thing is a serious economic engine. Just look at this number. In a single year, the businesses run by these women brought in a turnover of over 1,800 crore rupees. For those of us not used to that number, that's about 215 million US dollars. That is real, tangible economic power, built from the ground up. Okay, so you've got this incredible foundation, this massive network already in place. So what's next? Well, in 2021, the government launched the next phase, the Extreme Poverty Eradication Program, or EPEP for short. This was it, the final super targeted push to the finish line. Now, this part is really key to understanding the whole strategy. You gotta see how these 2 programs work hand in hand. Think of it like this. Kudumbashree is the giant, powerful army. For decades, they built the roads, they gathered the intel, they won the trust of the people. And EPP? That's the highly trained special mission that uses everything the army built to go in and perform precision strikes, rescuing the most vulnerable families one by one. So how do they do it? Well, this is the genius of the model. It's called a convergence model, and honestly, it's pretty revolutionary. The idea is simple but powerful. Stop having different government departments working in their own little bubbles. Instead, you bring all of them together to wrap their support around a single family. So the health department steps in with free care, civil supplies make sure there's food on the table, the education department opens up new opportunities. It's a total all-hands-on-deck approach that helps the whole family, not just one tiny piece of the problem. So, what happens when you put it all together?
You take that massive community network and you pair it with this super smart targeted government program, well, you get one of the most incredible success stories in the fight against poverty in modern history. The results? They are just stunning. All right, look at these numbers. The program started by identifying just over 64,000 families living in the most extreme poverty. And now, an incredible 59,500 of those families have been lifted out. Do the math. That's a 93% success rate. That is absolutely mind-blowing. And what that's done is taking Kerala's already super low poverty rate and pushed it down even further, from just over 0.5% to under 0.5%. And they are so confident they've actually set a date, November 1st, 2025. That's the day they plan to officially declare victory over extreme poverty. But it's so important to remember that behind every single one of those numbers is a family, a real human story. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? This isn't about statistics on a spreadsheet. It's about hope being restored. It's about futures being rebuilt. So what's the big takeaway here? Why should the rest of the world pay attention? Because Kerala has given us a powerful blueprint. First, it shows us that real development is about dignity, not just data. Second, it proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that when you empower women at the grassroots level, you create real, lasting change. And finally, it shows that when governments get smart and work together, when they break down those silos, they can solve problems that seemed impossible before. And in the end, Kerala's whole journey leaves us with this one really powerful thought. It completely redefines what progress even means. It's not about how rich the richest people are. True progress, it tells us, is about making sure that the very last person, the most vulnerable person, is standing tall and empowered. What an incredible idea to end on. Thanks for tuning in.